Okay, so picture this. You walk into your local comic book shop, but you're sick of all the superheroes that you're seeing on the shelf. So there's gotta be something else out there besides Marvel and DC, right? Yes. You, my friend, are searching for the world of indie comics. Now, just like with Marvel and DC, it can be kind of intimidating getting into indie comics for the first time. There are hundreds upon thousands of publishers. There are thousands and thousands of titles out there, so it's daunting to try and pick something. And if what you're used to is Marvel and DC, the art styles look different, the cover design is different, the artists and the writers are people you may never have heard of, the publishers you may never have heard of. But don't freak out. Here are some things you need to know before buying your first indie comic. Now, firstly, know this, not all indie comics are built the same. Now, what do I mean by that? Mainly, it comes down to quality. Now, I'm not just talking about like the paper quality or how nice or flashy the cover is. No, instead, more what I'm talking about is effort. You can tell when an indie comic is meant as a cash grab, something just to get you to give them your money and give you some cheap substandard product in return. Or you can tell when the people who put the book out weren't necessarily ready to put a book out. Maybe the storytelling just isn't very consistent or cohesive. Maybe the artwork isn't consistent throughout the whole book. Maybe the cover design is just unappealing. Now, of course, that's all based off personal preferences, but for an example, here's something I made, and then here's something a professional made. You see the difference? But don't let that turn you away from indie comics, because for every crap comic book out there, there's hundreds of amazing stories to find. So pay attention to the quality of the product that you're about to purchase. That way you can get something that's actually a passion project that the people in the creative team actually felt strongly about putting out. My second piece of advice is just grab something that looks cool to you. Now, I know this is kind of generic advice that pretty much every comic book content creator gives, but there's a reason they do that. For a long time, comic book readers like myself and others, when we were kids, that was how we discovered our first comic books. We looked at the rack, we saw something with super flashy holographic covers or something like that. Keep in mind, I was a child in the 90s, so that was kind of the big thing back then. But regardless, look at the shelf, see something that catches your eye, pick it up and flip through it. Maybe it's not something you're really into, or maybe it could be your next favorite series. You don't have to really overthink things when buying a comic book. Just grab something that looks cool to you. Third piece of advice is going to be think of what kind of movies you enjoy and then kind of go from there. For example, if you're a horror movie buff, then Something is Killing the Children or The Silver Coin is going to be right up your alley. And if you like fantasy books, then you have things like ElfQuest and Triskel from Scout Comics. My point is, there's literally a comic book for every niche fandom out there. If you like video games, there's publishers that's all they do is make comic books based off games. If you like movies, there's a comic book no matter what kind of movie you're into. So think of your favorite movie genre and use that as a guiding point when you enter into indie comic books. Now, if you still can't make a decision based off covers, titles, or movie genres, bite the bullet and just ask the comic book shop employee. 9 times out of 10, they can point you to the hottest indie stuff, and a lot of them are fans of the indie books too, because quite frankly, sometimes they get sick of talking about superheroes. And a lot of them really enjoy interacting with their customers. So ask the shop employee. You might be suggested something that you didn't even think of. Now, my final thing I'm going to say for this video is be open-minded. I know I said earlier that pick something that looks cool to you, but also look at the stuff that may not necessarily look cool to you at first also. This goes back into that old saying, don't judge a book by its cover. If the cover doesn't grab you immediately, open it up and flip through the pages, because sometimes these publishers and writers will hire outside artists specifically just for the cover, and then the interior art actually looks completely different, and it might be better or more your style. And also, the titles of some of these books might be deceptive. So, for example, say you see a book called, I don't know, The Beast Within. Now, you might assume that that's some kind of horror story, but if you read through it, it may turn out to be a story about someone's struggle with addiction or mental health. Again, just don't judge a book by its cover and be open-minded when looking at comic books, especially in the indie comic book scene. But yeah, guys, that's my basic advice for getting into indie comic books for the very first time. If you like these kinds of videos, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be doing one of these kinds of videos every week. And also leave a comment down below and suggest what you would like to see in future videos. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. So everybody, please be safe, be kind, and take it easy.